Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and on today's episode of The Hypnotist, we've got a very special guest hypnotist talking about regression, talking about weight loss. Welcome to the show, Rosie Callaghan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Adam.
Great to have you here. So it probably makes sense to start with getting to know you a little bit. Tell us a bit about you and how you got into hypnotherapy.
So I would have gone to a quit smoking session about 13 years ago, just over 13 years ago. And that was my first taste of it, and spent 2 hours with somebody, and I never wanted one since. So 13 years later, so I knew straight away, what did he just do to me? Like the way I explained it at the time was, it's like turning off a switch or turning on a switch upstairs. I don't know which it is, but something definitely clicked that day. And I thought that was really powerful. And then I figured, well, what else could I use it for? And for mental health, I think like many therapists out there, you would struggle with something, because that's why you go looking for something, so it would have helped me a lot for that as well. And yeah, I just got a fire in my belly then for hypnosis. Thought, how can I help people do this? Because what I was doing before that was teaching music. So I suppose there was always a passion there for helping people feel better, I suppose. But it used to be just instilling a love for music in kids. And that made them happy. And, music's great. It's very therapeutic as well. So, so then I studied with the Institute of Clinical Hypnotherapy. And that was done, 7 or 8 years ago. And ever since then, I was in Canada for 2 years as well, and opened Ontario Hypnosis. And I actually saw a lot of women for weight loss over there. And I don't mean just getting them to chew their food. I mean doing the full emotional clean out as well on a one-to-one, getting to the root of why they gained 5 or 6 stone or whatever it was. So spent a couple of years there. And in 2020, I started the HypnoSlim online classes. So once a week, I'd have a group of people on Zoom. They come on a course for 6 weeks. And I do the group hypnotherapy there. And in the clinic, I do the one-to-one. So yeah.
Amazing. So it seems like you had that kind of early experience that was kind of groundbreaking for you. It really changed your life. And then it was like, oh, maybe I could learn more about this, help other people. And I think a lot of hypnotherapists, have some kind of breakthrough themselves that becomes a bit of a convincer before they start working with other people. And I think, like you, I started off with a lot of weight loss clients. For the first 2 or 3 years, almost every client was weight loss. And I think what's fascinating about weight loss is that, and I don't know how it was for you, but my perception was, people don't know what to eat, or, they're just kind of having too big portion sizes. But within weeks, it was like, this is emotional, and the weight loss is the consequence of that kind of underlying issue, rather than the issue is that they're eating too much food. What were some of the insights that you gained from just working with so many people in the area of weight loss?
Exactly what you say there. Like the weight that they have gained is their, symptom to a cause. And it's amazing when you see that, it completely changes your view. Because a lot of people would see, you'd see someone walking down the street and they've so much weight on them. And there's a perception that they're lazy, or they couldn't be bothered, or they're, just no motivation and all that. But actually the motivation part might be right, but it's all emotional. There's something in there. Like I've had clients who, could have had 10 stone to lose, even at least. And then you get to the root cause. like there was one particular person who got knocked off the bike at 4 years old. And that was the root cause of the anxiety, the emotional part. Like, I think the first time when people hear this, they think, what? Fell off my bike, so now I have 10 stone. But actually, yes, the emotional side, the shock of that, the trauma. It's trauma, childhood trauma a lot of the time. But it's amazing though, even just as early, like from the first session, something clicks. Like I know for myself, the first session that I give all my clients in the group is one that would have been done on me when I was studying the gastric band, and I haven't touched chocolate in 7.5 years since that, and nor have I wanted to. That was my vice. I loved it, but now I can't even smell it, and it turns my stomach. So it's really powerful, even from the first one. Now we don't obviously guarantee everyone will have those results, but it's the habit, even just getting them to chew their food and convince their brain, that their subconscious, that they really want to get the runners on. You know, like I would be telling clients that, like when those runners look at you, they're saying, bring me out, let's go for a walk, we want to go, you know. And it's just about tricking that part of the mind. And why not? Because it's for the better, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had a few weight loss clients that it's obvious what's going on. Like they might have been the victim of some kind of assault or unwanted attention. And it's this 1 and 1 equals 3. It's this kind of like, well, if I'm overweight or undesirable, then I'm safer. And it's just this kind of belief system gets formed. There was a gentleman I worked with, and he had 2 marriages that ended very badly. And he was slim in both times where he met the woman that became his wife. And he was so overweight that he had a suspected heart attack. When he started losing the weight, he started sabotaging it because his unconscious thought that it was inevitable that if he lost weight, he'd get into another toxic marriage. And it's kind of like a lot of the time it kind of makes sense when you figure out what's going on. There are obviously more complicated, you know, kind of emotional things. If someone's feeling sad and, you know, food makes them happy, it's kind of like a cause and effect that creates these addictive loops. What are the most popular patterns that you've seen with weight loss clients where you think, okay, it's on the surface, it looks like this, but what really is happening is something else?
What comes to mind when you ask that, I'm thinking when I was treating the ladies in Canada, there was a lot of abuse. That was a pattern I saw at the time. And they had come from Europe actually as children, coming away from certain countries. I'm not going to say where, but they had experienced that abuse in the home where the mother took them out and went to Canada. So it's, yeah, that pattern there. Here I'm seeing an awful lot in my classes, a huge pattern of the perimenopause or menopause, all that. So like anything from the mid 30s to mid 60s, it's like, and like I'm 44 next week. So like I'm at the start of that cycle too, going, whoa, this is what people are talking about. And it's that no time for themselves. They're taxi moms. That's mostly mothers. My class aren't exclusive to women only, but there's that pattern of having no time for themselves, using food to comfort themselves. They don't even realize, and they're eating half the time. And a lot of, because of the hormonal change, they're all over the place, you know. And I know that myself as well, I've seen it change. So obviously there's a dip in different hormones and stuff. So there's a huge pattern there in my daily clinic. And I think, you know, once they start changing the habits and they start losing a little bit of weight, like they've already convinced themselves that they've changed. And it's much, much easier when you do that through hypnosis. You know, dieting doesn't work. We all know that. You know, even if you lose some, you're going to get it back and the rest. So it's so nice to be able to give them that support where it's effortless, you know. But that would be the main pattern I'd see at the moment, is the menopausal stage, and just people who are just so busy, mostly moms, not exclusive, but they've forgotten to take care of themselves. You know?
That's it. And as you get older, you've got the metabolic, you know, role, you've got different hormonal, you know, kind of elements, and you're right, time and kind of habits and those kind of things. We were going to talk about regression a little bit, and I think, you know, regression can be really helpful for weight loss as well, because it's quite often in childhood that kind of treats are some form of expression of love or affection or validation or reward. But sometimes the trauma that has caused all of this has also happened in the past. Where do you find yourself using regression most for clients? Is that at the beginning of a habit? Is that some kind of traumatic event? Or where do you find regression really helpful for clients?
For anxiety would be the main thing. So even though someone might come to me for weight loss, no matter what they are experiencing, whether it's depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, whatever it is, there's a root cause somewhere. So it is the biggest tool in my toolbox, right? We got to get to the root of it. And that's where I would use regression. So most of the time, Adam, I'm sure you probably find this the same as well. People, you could ask a client on the phone before you meet them, say, oh, what are the habits? What are the problems? And have you any idea when it started? And very often they might refer to the foods, oh, well, my granny used to give me this and my mom used to, what you were referring to there a minute ago. But once they step into the clinic, there's none of that, because that is not the problem. Because someone was giving you sweets, that's not the problem why you're here in this situation today. It's the emotional pain that's behind that. So when they come into me, I'm like, right, we have to get to the root of their pain. But where is it? So you would use, like, I know we're not going to go into the whole technique today, but it's about getting the root cause, finding out where it started, and removing or desensitizing the event. So you're removing the emotions attached to that event. And then you'll have a look for at least another half dozen, maybe, depending. I mean, some clients you could be there writing, there could be loads, and you pick out which are the ones that are quite relevant here. Some they may not, so you weigh it up, and then the light feeling they get off after that is huge. So that's where, no matter what they kind of come in with, obviously quit smoking people are different, but there's a root, there's a cause for the weight that's on them. So I feel it's like a challenge, but we have to work together. I bring 50, they bring 50, but the challenge is to get to the root and make them feel better and build up their confidence as well.
Yeah, and when you look at it from the point that nobody is born pre-programmed to kind of overeat or snack or whatever it might be, then this had a point of inception. This had a point where something happened and it was kind of joined up as an emotional coping response or something. And when I use regression, it's exactly that. It's to go to the point where it all started. And quite often it was a good intention deployed badly, in that moment. But sometimes it's also good to use regression to kind of go back to times where they just had it exactly as they wanted it, that Goldilocks kind of thing, where they were eating without, being on a diet, they were eating well, they were moving more, and just kind of reactivating those resource states is kind of good, because quite often we forget that there was a time that it was exactly as you would want it to be.
Yeah, it's lovely actually regressing. So at the start of all my sessions, I'd be regressing to a happy time. And do you know what I find comes up most of the time is a Christmas morning of some sort, any time in the first 7 or 8 years, that there's somebody sitting on Granda's knee or something, or opening a present Christmas morning. It's lovely. Like, it's really, because it's also giving them the confidence as well that there's loads of happy stuff there too. And you can go back to whatever you need to, and it's controlled as well,
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's kind of like you reactivate those neural pathways, you reactivate the resource states, and they're the same person, but the same person in a more resourceful state is able to make very different choices, which, can break those kind of cycles. And in terms of weight loss, what have you noticed it changes? Because in theory, the same person that loses a few pounds, a few kilos, should be the same person with just a few kilos less. But actually, quite often it brings about an entirely, different person, a different side of their personality. What are some of the things that you've seen when people do shed that excess weight?
Yeah, not to sound big-headed, but like if I opened my phone now and went through a load of texts, which I wouldn't for GDPR too, but it's people saying like, you've literally changed my life. I'm now out doing things, I'm enjoying life. People have this perception of when you're trying to lose weight or you're on a diet that you can't go out or you can't do anything. It's all deprivation. Whereas I'm telling them to get out, and when you've convinced them that their stomach's only the size of their fist and they only need a side plate, they have the confidence in. So there's lots, it changes their lifestyle. And I know that's a bit of a cliche if you need to change your lifestyle, but it does. They're more confident, they're feeling better in their clothes, they've more energy. The energy is a big one because you're convincing them that they have lots of energy too. And do you know what one of my favorite ones was? It was the first class I did. There was 4 of them in it in January 2020. And I was still in Canada and they were over here. I didn't know them at all. And this lady was in Cork and she's a nurse. And I remember she had to take leave. She was only about my own age. She had to stop working because of the arthritis. So all the inflammation, the pains in the joints, she wasn't able to be on her feet anymore. And she was married to 2 kids. And we did the class. And after a couple of weeks, so she stopped eating crisps, chocolate, everything from the very first session, didn't want them anymore. And she said after a few weeks that the pain had significantly reduced. And by the end, at that time, I was doing 10-week course. By the end of the 10 weeks, she was hiking. So she'd been out walking and not just normal, going for a little stroll. So for someone who couldn't stand on her feet and work, all of a sudden she was a nurse as well. She understood, even the sugar, all that sugar every day, what it's doing. But unless you flip the switch, it can be very hard. So yeah, the arthritis. The other one was the cholesterol. I remember there was a lady, she said she was on blood, I don't know, was it, yeah, blood pressure. Was it blood pressure tablets she was on? Yeah, it was, sorry, blood pressure tablets. And she had been on them for about 10 years. And literally within a couple of weeks, she went back to her GP and he took her off them. And that was just because they're now eating healthier, putting the food into their body that they want. So it's not like this magic wand, but once you do that and doing it effortlessly. So they were big things that people come with. Their sleeping better as well is another one. Yeah, there's endless advantages.
It doesn't stop, does it? Because once the confidence increases, then they might feel, more motivation to try different things. It can have social impact and health and well-being, and this kind of ripple effect that keeps on going. It's a wonderful thing. In the world of hypnotherapy, a lot of hypnotists consider Erickson one of the kind of most influential kind of figures. And I'd probably say after Erickson, it's probably Ellman that is a real kind of father figure almost of kind of modern hypnotherapy. Tell us, because it seems like you use the Ellman induction a lot in your process. For those people not familiar with the Ellman induction and the influence that Ellman has had on hypnotherapy, tell us your thoughts on that.
That the relaxation part. Now, some people like to have a quicker, faster experience, which can be very good as well. I find with the Ellman, it's, I suppose, clinical hypnotherapy. You're in there, you've got the relaxation process is so powerful. I remember the first time I'd ever done it. So from the very start, that's what I used. And I've never really gone looking to be able to compare it to lots of other techniques. But I find it so powerful going into some somnambulism, lots of deepeners, that you've just got full access when you use it, There's loads of different techniques out there. But really, I suppose I just sing the Ellman praise, sing his praises, that it really works. And there's lots of methods, obviously, for getting into hypnosis, and then what you do in there is up to, whatever you're working on, whether it's quit smoking. But that relaxation process of his is very, very powerful.
I agree. I think it's an amazing process. And for those people listening that are wondering who Ellman is, he's a very kind of influential kind of figure, but his approach takes things like fractionation, convincers, deepeners, all of this kind of stuff, progressive relaxation, this whole kind of journey. And for those people that like a really deep experience, that gives them that deep experience. And some of the language, if it's used exactly as the original kind of script, the kind of wet rags and cloths and all this kind of stuff seem a little bit kind of old fashioned. I don't use the Ullman induction enough, I think, because normally like my whole sessions are 60 minutes, and then it's kind of like if you're doing 30 minutes of hypnotherapy, that's a long part of the process. But that doesn't mean it's not a great kind of tool. It's a really, I think, wonderful induction. And you're going to be using the Ullman induction in your demonstration now and doing some weight loss suggestions. So I'm looking forward to that. But for people interested in working with you and learning more about you, where can they find out more information?
So you can go to our website is weightlossclinic.ie and /hypnoslim if you're interested in doing the group classes. So the next one will start up then in January, but that'll be Wednesday evenings. And also on Facebook. We're on Facebook and TikTok as well. So it's easy enough to find us, and on Google as well, like obviously all the usual places.
So we're going to put those links in the show notes. So if you are interested in working with Rosie, that's the place to go. And Rosie and myself are also presenting at the Irish Hypnotherapy Conference in April in Dublin. So if you are interested in seeing Rosie, there will be a link to early bird tickets in the show notes as well, so you can certainly check that out. But Rosie, you're going to do a hypnotherapy experience for us. I was just saying before we started recording, there's a few extra pounds I'd like to lose. So I'm going to be experiencing this along with everyone listening right now. So I'm going to put myself on mute, and then it's all over to you to lead us into this hypnosis.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Yeah, it's all about your perception, isn't it? You think that you need to lose them, but sure, that's all we need. It's how the client is thinking. Okay. So we'll just start with taking a deep breath. And just let that breath go. And take another deep breath in. And let that breath go. So this time when you take a deep breath in, I want you to fill your lungs completely. And then hold the breath for a mental count of 5. And as you slowly exhale that breath, allow your eyes to close normally and naturally. And I want you to imagine sending a big wave of relaxation all the way from the top of your head, down your forehead, further down over your eyelids, helping your eye muscles relax. And imagine now sending that wave of relaxation even further down your cheeks and your neck, all the way down your chest and stomach. And imagine sending that wave of relaxation even further down your legs, into your knees and your ankles and feet. Now we're going to deepen this relaxation much, much more. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open and close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, allow this to be your signal for the relaxation to become 10 times deeper. All you have to do is to want this to happen, and you can allow it to happen very easily. So when you're ready, take a deep breath. And hold the breath. And nice and gently open your eyes and close them. Now let that breath go. And imagine your whole body now being covered in a warm blanket of relaxation. And we're going to deepen this relaxation even more. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open and close your eyes again. Now this time when you close your eyes, double the relaxation that you feel, and be aware that you're twice as relaxed as before. So when you're ready, take a deep breath in and hold the breath, and nice and gently open your eyes and close them. Now let that breath go and let every muscle in your body completely relax. Be aware now that every muscle in your body is relaxed, and you can hold on to this feeling of relaxation for as long as you choose. And we're going to deepen this relaxation even more. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open and close your eyes just one more time. And this time when you close your eyes, double the relaxation that you feel and be aware that you're twice as deep as before. So when you're ready, take a deep breath in and then hold the breath. That's it. Open the eyes and close them. Now let the breath go and double that relaxation that you feel, and be aware that every muscle in your body from your head to your toes is completely relaxed now. And for as long as you choose to hold on to that feeling of relaxation, every muscle is completely relaxed. So now that you have relaxed physically, next I'm going to show you how to relax mentally. And this doesn't take long, but I don't want you to start until I ask you to start. So in a moment, when I ask you, I'm going to ask you to imagine or pretend that you've got a pen and paper on your right hand and another pen and paper under your left hand. So when I ask you, I'm going to ask you to imagine or pretend when you exhale a breath that with the right hand you write the number 73 on the piece of paper. And on the next exhale, imagine or pretend writing the letter W on the piece of paper. And on the next out breath, imagine writing the number before that on the right. And on the next out breath, imagine writing the letter before that on the left. So you'll find as you're doing this that your mind gets relaxed and confused, and it'll get hazy as to which number or letter you're on and which hand. And this is exactly what you want to happen. You know, if you wanted, you could go all the way back to A or down to 0, but that's not why you're here. You're here to relax your mind. So just enjoy how good it feels as you do it. And I'll still be talking to you, but you don't really have to listen. Whenever you get confused or forget, which number or letter's coming next, all you need to do in that moment is simply double the relaxation that you feel and enjoy how good it feels as you do it. So let's get ready to start. 10. Let's get ready to start. On the next out breath, imagine with your right hand writing the number 73 on that piece of paper. And on the next out breath, imagine writing the letter W on that piece of paper on the left. And on the next out breath, imagine writing the number before that on the right. And on the next out breath, imagine writing the letter before that on the left. Now you continue doing this. I'll still be talking, but you don't really have to listen. Whenever you get confused or forget which number or which letter is coming next, just simply double the relaxation that you feel and enjoy how good it feels as you do it. And you continue doing a number or letter on each out breath in your own breathing pattern. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 10 down to 1. And with each number I count, you'll notice your mind and body relaxing even more. All you have to do is to want this to happen, and you'll notice it happening all by itself. You'll notice how the deeper you relax, the better you feel. And the better you feel, the more you can allow yourself to relax. Not because I said so, but it's the very nature of your mind and body to enjoy these deep, deep levels of relaxation. 10. Going deeper and deeper relaxed. 9, relaxing more and more. 8, all the way down now, deeper and deeper down, that's it. 7, deeper and deeper relaxed. Almost like you can feel gravity just pulling you into that chair or bed that you're on. And if you've already got confused and forget which number or letters come next, pick another random letter and number and start again. 6, going deeper and deeper relaxed. 5, relaxing more and more, deeper and deeper. 4, even deeper now. 3, just letting go. 2, deeper and deeper relaxed. And 1, that's really good. Now I want you to imagine something, but before you do, if there's any numbers or letters still lingering, just imagine throwing them away for the rest of this relaxation. They'll be there when you're done, but right now all you need to do is relax. So use your imagination now and understand that some people are very visual and they can really see pictures in their minds and images. Others get impressions, but every single one of us can imagine. So I want you to use that imagination now and imagine that you're somewhere out in the countryside. Imagine or pretend you're somewhere out in nature. Somewhere where the sky is an incredible blue. There's 1 or 2 fluffy clouds floating by. And imagine that there's a little river or stream meandering by. You can hear the water running over the rocks, generating eddies of foam that glisten in the sunlight. This is a beautiful place, full of peace and tranquility. And there's nobody looking for anything. This is time out for you. So imagine there's birds and trees there, flowers and butterflies. Maybe you can even hear birds singing. Maybe you can feel a gentle breeze on your face. Imagine lying down in this place now and you're feeling so relaxed and so at peace. Notice the butterflies going from flower to flower. Maybe you can even smell the flowers, feeling so relaxed and at peace. I want you to imagine or pretend now that you fall into a peaceful, natural sleep, even though you know you're never going to be asleep in this place. But just pretend that you're going to sleep, because you know when you sleep, you can dream. So imagine now that you are dreaming, and you know that when you dream, everything is possible. There's no limitations whatsoever. So imagine or pretend now that you're standing at the top of a staircase. Now this isn't an ordinary staircase. This is your own personal staircase of relaxation. Now you can decorate it any way you want. Maybe put some nice soft carpet of your favourite colour on it. You can hang your favourite pictures or photos on the walls, paint whatever way you want. Make it your own. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 10 down to 1. And with each number I count, you'll notice your mind and body relaxing even more. With each number that I count, I want you to imagine or pretend that you're taking a step down the staircase, and you'll notice yourself relaxing more and more with each step you take. Now remember that some people are very visual. I'm not. Some people are very visual. And they can see very clearly the pictures in their minds. When they're asked to do this, they can see themselves walking down each step, noticing themselves relaxing more and more with each step. And then other people feel like they're floating down the steps, just relaxing more and more. And then there's other people who might find their minds wander and they just relax more and more with each number. So whatever way your mind works for you is perfect for you. There's no right or wrong here. So let's get ready to take that first step. 10. Going deeper and deeper. 9. Mind relaxing and body relaxing. 8. All the way down now. 7. Deeper and deeper relaxed. 6. Relaxing more and more. 5. Each step is relaxing you more and more. 4. Even deeper now. Deeper and deeper down, that's it. 3. Just letting go. 2. Relaxing more and more with each step. And 1. That's good. So you notice now that every breath that you take is relaxing you more and more. Every breath that you exhale is relaxing you more and more. And every sound that you hear relaxes you more and more. Any external sounds such as phones ringing or doors banging, or any sounds even of me moving in the chair, or any animals outside, all these sounds can only help and guide you deeper and deeper relaxed, because you know that the outside world is still turning. As you relax more and more, deeper and deeper. Now in a moment, I'm going to count from 5 down to 1. And with each number I count, you can just allow your mind and body to relax even more as your subconscious mind gets ready to take on all these wonderful, powerful hypnotic suggestions. 5, going deeper and deeper relaxed. 4, relaxing more and more. 3, mind relaxing and body relaxing. And 2, all the way down. That's it. And 1, deeper and deeper relaxed. Now what I want you to do now, you're doing really well, I want you to imagine being in a waiting room. And it's just like a doctor's waiting room. But imagine you're there, you're the only person there. Just you, nobody else. And imagine yourself sitting in the middle of the waiting room, and in front of you, there's a door to the left, and there's another door to the right. And I want you to imagine that you're waiting to make one of the most important decisions of your life. And this decision that you make is going to decide if you're going to be happier and healthier, slimmer, and all the wonderful things that come with that, such as having more confidence and feeling in control and feeling proud of yourself, better mobility, relationships, having more and more positive relationships in your life, and also wearing the nicest of clothes. This decision can decide if you're going to be in your ultimate shape for your body type and age. Now, this decision could also decide, though, if you're just giving up on yourself and giving up on the best version of you. Maybe giving up on being confident, healthy, happy. That decision could decide if you're actually going to lose control of your body shape. Maybe a loss of pride in your appearance. And this decision that you're about to make could possibly take years off your lifetime. This is one of the most important decisions that you will ever make. So I want you to imagine now that behind that door to the left is you this time next year. And I want you to imagine that behind that door to the left, that's the you that did not decide to take control of their height, their health, and their weight. That's the you that's making all the bad choices. Eating just when you think you're hungry instead of actually waiting for the physical appetite to form. That's the you that's using food to silence negative emotions. Maybe drinking sugary drinks, maybe too much alcohol, lots of takeaways, and always thinking that they're hungry and thinking, oh, what am I going to eat next? So I want you to imagine that you behind that door on the left is still eating all the greasy foods, those foods that are filled with sugar and fat, takeaways, convenience foods, and that you is still not exercising. And they're eating bigger and bigger portions as the time goes on, feeling absolutely stuffed when they eat, and getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. And I really want you to make this image as painful as you can. Unless you decide to make the right decision, then this is possible. This could be your truth. Unless you decide to take back control, it is a possibility. And if it's a possibility, then it's a risk to you in the future. And if it's a risk, then it's also a threat that you do not need in your life, nor do your loved ones need that threat in their lives. Now, I want you to imagine walking into that room on the left and boom, there you are. This time next year, imagine you're in that room on the left, this time next year, heavier, unhappier, more and more miserable, unhealthier, and of course, you've more and more body fat. And imagine seeing yourself in front of you in this room. They're still eating huge portions, like big portions. Eating far too fast, not allowing the time to chew the food. And they're even eating when they don't even have an appetite. Just eating for the sake of eating, not waiting for that physical appetite. And imagine all the takeaways that they've eaten in just 1 year. Imagine all that grease that they've consumed in just 1 year. And ask yourself a question now and be really honest, right? Ask yourself these questions. Am I happier that I've spent another year hurting myself? Am I happier that I had to buy bigger clothes? Am I healthier? And ask yourself this, is food that good that you're prepared to risk your health? Is eating vast amounts of grease each year that good that you don't care about the stress that it's causing your organs? Is sugary food that good that I don't mind feeling awkward when people look at me? Is sugary food that good that I don't mind risking even my children being bullied when I go to pick them up in school? Is eating whenever I feel like it that special that you just give up on yourself? Is making bad choices and having a bad relationship with food so special I won't mind putting myself down every time I see a reflection in a window or in the mirror? Is making those bad choices that special? Now imagine 5 years passes by and they're still trapped behind that door on the left, getting bigger and bigger with each year that passes. Imagine another 5 years of grease and sugar. Another 5 years of stuffing yourself with big portions. Imagine another 5 years of convenience foods and another 5 years of losing my identity and forgetting to look after myself. Imagine another 5 years. Now imagine another 10 years pass by in that room and they're still stuck there in the same situation. Now imagine even 20 years on. Imagine still being stuck behind that door. And now I want you to imagine yourself in the last few minutes of life and feeling really angry. Just feeling like a failure, knowing that if only I'd made changes to my food choices, if only it changed my lifestyle, I could have more time, more happiness, more self-respect, more pride, and more energy, and much more fun if only I'd made that right decision. Now imagine they just pass away and boom, that's it. No more chances. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine leaving that room on the left and sitting back down in the waiting room. And now I want you to generate a huge sense of relief, because the great news is that none of that has happened, and it doesn't have to happen. But the only person in the whole world who can make that choice is you, and only you. Nobody can do for you what it'll take for you to do for yourself. Only you have that power, which means if you're serious, if you are really serious, then you need to make the right decision for you and your loved ones here today. But don't make it yet. Before you make it, now what I want you to do is imagine going in through that door on the right and just see the real you that's there. This is the you that only you can decide to be. It has always been up to you, and only up to you. You have the power to decide if you're going to be overweight and miserable and feeling horrible, or if you're going to be slimmer and happier and enjoying life to the full. So look at the you behind this door on the right. Wow. Absolutely amazing. Looking like a different person. Much slimmer and healthier, more confident, lighter in your feet, eyes are sparkling and skin's clear, full of energy and full of life. Look at the clothes they're wearing and look how happy they are. They do not eat huge portions. That you behind that door on the right? No, they don't eat huge portions. They don't eat just because they think they're hungry. They actually wait for physical appetite to come. And they don't want to put the chocolate and the sugar and the so-called treats and convenience foods into their body. It's not that they can't. Remember, we're all grown up. We can do what we want. It's not that they can't, but it's because they don't actually want to. Why would they want to do that to themselves? Now it's time to make your decision. And the decision is not, will I choose the left room or the right room? The decision is, do I continue to stay in the room on the left? Or do I make a lifestyle change to choose the door to the right. Because the truth is, as long as you've carried excess weight in your body, you've already been living in that room on the left. So it's time to say goodbye to that lifestyle. And I'm going to count from 5 down to 1 before we do that, and allow your mind and body relax even deeper as your subconscious gets ready to make this decision. 5, going deeper and deeper relaxed. 4, all the way down. 3, deeper and deeper relaxed. 2, just letting go, that's it. And 1. Okay, it's time to make your decision now. I'm going to remain silent on the count of 3 for 1 minute. And in that minute, you need to find your desire, resolve, strength, and commitment, and that need to change your lifestyle and relationship with food. Now, if you don't, then you're deciding to remain in that room on the left. And why would you want to do that to yourself? Okay, get ready. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, well done. That's fantastic. You have decided to be in control of your health and your weight and your happiness. And what a powerful decision this is. Your subconscious mind now fully accepts the suggestion that you'll be free from overeating, free from eating junk food, and you'll achieve the changes that you want. And from now on, you'll always be healthier and free to be happier and healthier for the rest of your life. Now, in a moment, I'm going to emerge you. I'm going to count from 1 to 3. And on the count of 3 and not before, your eyes will open easily and effortlessly, and your conscious mind will take back full control. 1, slowly coming back to your normal awareness. And 2, feel your eyes clearing as if they've been bathed in a cool mountain spring. And 3, feeling good in every way, your eyes opening as your conscious mind takes back full awareness.
Thank you so much for that, Rosie. I had a great little experience there. That was fantastic. I'm just going to share a little bit of my thoughts as I was kind of on that kind of process, and I just kind of that kind of first room on the left, I could kind of see myself, because I've got family members like uncles, my dad. Like, I kind of know that a lot of my genetics is predisposed to have like a big belly. So I just kind of saw that future with a big belly. But I also know that I'm capable of being quite athletic looking and that kind of stuff. So that kind of other room was kind of like a very lean and kind of like muscular and kind of a lot kind of happier, sky high confidence. So I found that a really useful kind of element. And and also what I was doing differently to get to each one, lots of kind of processed foods for the left room and lots of kind of lean proteins and kind of lots of vegetables in the right room. So yeah, it was a brilliant little session. Thank you for that. Was there anything you wanted to kind of explain or kind of highlight about that session?
I think for anyone who might be listening to this, my advice would be that room on the left, you can really personalize it on a one-to-one, but you can really get a really good benefit out of it as well if you just allow yourself feel the pain. You know, me as Rosie, a normal person, I'm a mother too. I don't like to put pain into people, but when people come to me for help, that part is very important, that you feel that pain. So if you were with me on a one-to-one basis there, I probably would have known from doing an intake with you what you wouldn't like, what you would hate that room on the left to look like. So I would have probably you would have been sitting there with a big belly, without a doubt. That would have been because I would have known that was your pain point. But in the classes, or even someone listening on audio, you can't personalize it. But when you're in there, my advice would be allow yourself feel the pain. And it's all for your benefit. It's not that you're going to be left there. Hypnosis is very safe. But if you allow yourself feel that pain, make it as bad as you possibly can. It's attitude change we want. We want you coming out of the session with a change of attitude, so you don't want to do that to yourself. So there's a good reason for that. I'm not trying to. No,
of course. And I think a lot of listeners to the show will know that, because quite often I use, particularly for kind of bad habits or addictions, it's kind of like associate into the future. You don't want to reach the point of threshold to make a decision for the future that you do want. And I think it's a great strategy, because if you don't, you're going to get to that place anyway. And it's better to kind of imagine the pain that you don't want rather than actually have the pain that you don't want. Like that's a much better, kind of choice there. Rosie, it's been great having you on the show today. Just give us again your details so that if people want to work with you personally or learn more about you, where they can go for more information.
Yeah, so you can email us at info@weightlossclinic.ie or go to the website, weightlossclinic.ie, and we're also on Facebook as well. And my email, well, actually, the info@weightlossclinic.ie is the best one, and we can chat there. Yeah, thanks so much for having me here today.
No, it's great to have you there. And just a reminder again for anyone listening, myself and Rosie are going to be speaking at the Irish Hypnotherapy Conference in Dublin in early April. In the show notes, you can book tickets at an early bird rate. And if you do want to see us, that's where we'll be. Rosie, thank you so much for joining me on the show again.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, and take care for everyone listening at home.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.